Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Clever Patch Crafternoons. I hope your holidays are off to a great start. I thought for today's craft that we could make these really fun frill neck lizard puppets. So they even have a little mouth that moves up and down, which is super cute. For today's project, we're just going to need some cover paper. If you don't have cover paper, that's okay. You can use regular paper. Cover paper just makes it a bit more sturdy for construction, but normal paper will work as well. If you don't have all the colors of the paper, that's fine too. You can work with white paper and decorate it using markers or pencils or whatever you have at home. We're also going to need a stapler, a black marker, glue or glue dots. I'm going to be using glue dots today purely so we don't have to wait for any drying time. We're going to use some wiggle eyes. Again, if you don't have wiggle eyes, you can use your marker to draw your eyes on. That's okay as well. We're going to need a pair of scissors, a pencil, and a ruler. All right, I think that's it. Let's jump into it. So what we want to do first is choose our colors of paper. So I'm going to use green for my lizard, and then I'm going to use yellow for the frill and the little belly patch here. And we're also going to need a little bit of red for the tongue. As I mentioned, if you don't have colored paper, then you can just start with your white paper and decorate it however you like. So we're going to start off with the green, and what we need to do is make a square from our A4 sheet of paper. So to do this, we simply fold a corner up to the edge and crease, and then we cut away this edge piece. Now we want to keep this piece of paper that we're cutting away, as we're going to use it later. So just pop that one to the side. And remember, adult supervision is always recommended when using scissors. So here we have our square of paper, and you'll see there is a diagonal creased line from where we folded. All we want to do is create the same thing on the opposite diagonal, like so. Now we want to fold all of the corners into that center point. So make sure you do a nice crisp fold along the edge there. And once all those corners are in the middle, we're just going to flip our square over and fold down the top corners to the center point, like so. And now we want to fold it, now we want to flip our piece of paper over and then fold in our left side and then our right side, just folding it into that center line there, and then we fold down our top point like so. So your piece of paper should look like this. We want to flip our paper over again, and you'll see these two little squares at the top. And we just want to tuck our thumb in underneath and then push that paper up so that these little flat bits go outwards, and then we're just going to crease it down. So now it's a rectangle shape. We do the same on the other side. Tuck your thumb underneath and push it up. If you need to, just help those little flaps move outwards as you do this, and then crease it down. So now we have two rectangles at the top of our paper. And when we flip it over, you're going to see our lizard beginning to take shape. Now we want to fold these triangle pieces at the top up. So there's 2 triangles here at the top. We just want to fold them so they sit at a right angle from our paper and they stick outwards. And this is going to be our lizard's mouth. Once we have the mouth in place, we're going to need to make our tongue. So I'm just going to take a sheet of red paper and cut a small rectangular piece out of the corner. I'm just going to shape that into a tongue. So nice and long. I'm going to give it a little circular end. And there's the tongue. And I'm just going to use glue dots to attach it inside the mouth. So our mouth sticks out there and you want to attach it to that bottom triangle. I'm going to use glue dots as I mentioned, but you can use a glue stick. You just might need to allow it to dry. So there we have the lizard's lovely long tongue. Now remember the extra piece of paper we cut away in the first step? We want to bring that back now, and we're going to fold it in half along that long edge. And then we want to unfold and fold those edges into the middle crease that we created. And then fold it all closed again to make a long strip of paper. And we just want to glue this shut. So get out your glue stick or your glue dots, depending on what you're using. Just pop a few glue dots down the middle. Fold it shut. And now we have our nice strip of paper. Take your lizard and we're just going to fold the mouth upwards, and you'll see there's a little pocket under the mouth, and we want to push our strip of paper upwards as far as it will go into that pocket, making sure it's nice and centered. And then we're going to fold both triangles of the mouth back downwards, making sure to give it a nice fold, pushing it downwards. And just tuck our strip into and under those paper flaps. And now our mouth should move up and down like the lizard's talking. If you've had a bit of glue on the outside here, it might be sticking to the roof of the mouth, so just clean up any glue that might be around the outside if you're having problems with the mouth moving. Time to add some eyes to our lizard. So I have these lovely monster eyes, which are great for these lizards. And I'm just going to use glue dots to attach them to these triangular points at the top of our lizard's head. So if you're using glue, just glue them in place and allow them to dry. Or if you don't have wiggle eyes, you can always use a marker and just draw them on instead. So there we have some lovely lizard eyes for our puppet. Now it's time to make the frill. So we want to take our second piece of colored paper. Mine is the yellow. And I'm just going to rule up a 16 centimeter high rectangle that runs the full length of the long edge of our paper. So I just measure 16 centimeters up from the bottom on one side, 16 centimeters up from the bottom on the other side. Join those points with my ruler and draw a line across. Now I can cut along my line. And just like in step one, make sure you don't throw out the skinnier strip of paper, as we're going to use that later as well. So just pop that one to the side. And here is our 16 centimeter high rectangle of paper to make our frill with. Now to make our frill, we're just going to do a simple concertina fold. So along the short edge, fold approximately 1 to 1.5 centimeters. Flip the paper over, fold it backwards, keeping that same width, and continue in this way all the way to the end of your rectangle. So if you didn't have colored paper and you're working with plain white paper, you could make a really interesting pattern for your frill. So don't feel like you have to stick to one color. You could get really creative and see what you can come up with. So all the way to the end, and there we have our concertina fold. And we just want to fold our strip in half so that we can find that center point. And I'm just going to take a stapler and pop a staple in the middle there to hold it in place. Now I want to bring these ends together up to the top. Just crease them down and hold them together. And then I'm going to use my glue dots to fix them in place. So once again, if using glue, just do the same thing, except glue those edges together at the top and allow them to dry. So pressing them together, we now have the start of our frill. Now what we need to do is bring those bottom edges together and do the same thing. So it's a nice big circular frill. Get my glue dots. Glue dots are really handy to work with, so you don't have to wait for that gluing time. They just press right onto the paper and hold in place like so. So So now we have our frill and we have our lizard. We just need to add some glue to the back of our lizard and then glue the frill in place. So I'm just going to pop quite a few glue dots on the back here. So we want him to stick nicely to the frill. And then I'm just going to line up where I want that frill to sit and press it down in place. Now our frill neck lizard is really starting to come together. All that's left to do is add his little belly piece, like this guy has. So we're taking that skinny strip from when we cut this piece away to make our frill, and I'm just going to line it up and cut across to make a small rectangle. I'm just going to round off the top edge there to make a nice little belly piece. And I'm going to use my marker to draw in some little ridges. You could do whatever pattern you like. And we're going to use this piece to hold these flaps on the side shut. Now we don't want it to glue to the strip underneath, as that's what we're using to operate the lizard's mouth. So we just want to pop a couple of glue dots on either side of these flaps. And then hold it down flat and place the belly on top. And there we have our frill neck lizard puppet all ready to put on a show. Well, I hope you've all had a great time making your fun little frill neck lizard puppets. Maybe you could think of other animals that you could make using the same shapes. Be sure to share with us the lizards that you have made at home, or if you use them to put on a puppet show, we would love to see what you have come up with. So make sure to email us or tag us in social media, because we really do love seeing what you're making out there as well. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, happy crafting!